my name is Jessica Holyfield, and I'm a professional dance choreographer and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States, and we are here taking a look at xikers' track entitled Breathe, music video. I'm very intrigued by this because it's a comeback, we love it, and I love the direction that we left off on with the group, and there's a chance we may be having an OT10 here, which will be the first time in a hot minute. I do know they had a Christmas track special, but I'm talking about an official comeback with title work. So, it's going to be very interesting, right? I'm ready, I hope you are. Let's go. Oh. Oh no. So we're gonna have a lot of people needing to breathe. Oh. Hey, come on, Dolga Bees. Yeah. That was cool. I like that scoop on that. Yeah. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Look at that. Oh, fantastic. Welcome to the OT10 chat. Oh, we love it. We gotta look at it one more time. Hold on. Give it. There it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, that's gonna be great. Wow, that was really fun. Definitely gave a smidgen. It feels like Hongjoon vomited on this, right? Hongjoon from ATEEZ, and I know he's been a part of the production work with the group. In what capacity? I don't know, but that laugh sounded all too familiar. If you're an ATEEZ, I feel like you were like, are you there? Which I think is really cool. It makes me very excited, of course, for the dance practice. It should be released very soon after this one does, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. This has been so great to watch the group, and I'm really happy that they are full again, and I know that they're happy with it. And shout out to KQ for the fact that they allowed, like, they let one of our guys who ended up being, hurt, go through to properly heal before going back into the group. And he's actually back in it. I love that. That, to me, double thumbs up. We're here for it. Back in action, baby. Love it. So, when I came to sit down to edit the music video reaction, the dance practice dropped. So we're going to sit here and take a watch and go ahead and do an analysis. I'm excited. And I do believe, if it serves me right, we're going to have an OT10 maybe. Cool. Oh, that's fun. Yay. Yay. That was an interesting break off there, wasn't it? Nice. Yeah. Eee! I really like his subtlety there. Ooh, nice. Because it's such a subtle tone he's playing on. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It has some stickiness to it, but I like that we're using our chest a lot on this. Nice. Wow. Yeah. Oof. Yeah, with a nice little... And then they all would have collapsed on the floor, right? But then also, remember one of those dance practice behind the scenes whenever they went hard like that and it never recorded? That kind of stuff sucks so hard. I really enjoy this. I like the fact it's an OT10. I do believe this is not a, oh my gosh, it's not our go-to team on this. I think it's like IMs on it this time, which I find to be very fascinating. Now, if you do not know Team IM, they are the ones that we saw their time be movement directors and choreographers for 8-turn. I don't know if they still are with them, but I do know they were part of them for Road to Kingdom Season 2. So I am very intrigued on really tackling this with some differences between what their go-to, who they're normally used to being with, to who they are with now. They are different, if you didn't know. BB Trippin' more so aligns with like the Whedon Boys niche of movement, and then when you have IM, it feels like you get into like the Be Ambitious side, right? And then also throw in a little bit of gesture. So I find it interesting, and I do know because there's affiliations, so it's gonna be a little bit different. I do feel like there were just a couple of sections where we could have taken more advantage of the numbers that we had, but there were some really cool sections though that we did utilize those numbers. So I wanted you to know that I did recognize those. I am excited to dive in. This was a fun one. It does keep that kind of humor, like the humorous, gimmicky effect of what really makes the group stand out in their own vein of concept. It's really fun, and not many groups are pulling this concept right now, which makes them stand out even more, which can help them gain momentum on their fan base. All right, here we go. OT 10 time! Love it. So we're starting with a little conducting there. I love that we break it away. He comes up all petty. That's Hunter, right? If we're doing a Where's Waldo, Hunter's right there in the center. Yeah, that he. It's reverb down, which was really cool. Nice little interruption. Kind of feels like no, it is where you're hitting down and then you're continuing to lower and lower, creating more weight behind it. I love that, and he matched it with the laugh, so that was really cool there. We continue on. The point is nice, the breathe. And then when you have him raise his voice, breathe, notice the arm also lifted up on that too. Really cool. Look forward. Really nice. They're like moving forward. They go, nice little attack forward. I like the travel up with the arms. So it goes breathe, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to take the arms, place them from one side to another. And it does feel like for that we do a cross with the legs to reset with the arm switch was nice. And then there's some subtlety in repetition, but we're even adding a little transition while that's happening. Breathe with a lot of this having tension and legato, but we are adding a little extra pull that creates a little hinge as well. So it's definitely not a typical linear, properly stacked, chest rotation. It's definitely you're letting the body take the reins on a lot of your choices, which is super dope. And then we take our arms. I like the stickiness of that. Nothing crazy there, but right there, that was just like a classic 5 with 2, 2 on each side. So it's what it felt like, but this is an OT 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're missing one. Oh, yeah, because they just peeked out from the sides. Cool, whatever, that's fine. So I like the repetitiveness, and notice we did a dun 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 with your feature in front, and everybody ended up taking their head and also doing it to match. But it wasn't a typical nod, which you could see more clearly. They knocked it back, which is trickier to do. I mean, they're tricksters, so I think that's fun. Also, side note, I find it wild that we did not do a comeback on April 1st. That is the National Trick Day, right? Outside of Halloween. And it's psychers. They're tolkippies. It's Tricky House. Why did we not have this comeback on April Fool's Day? Such a missed opportunity. But I just felt the need that I needed to say that on mic. I still feel that way. Anyway, moving on. So I like the drop down. Good feature coming up. Travels the arms up. And I like the rebound on it. They pull. And I really love that you have one of your guys completely passed out on the side. It's really fun. Nice little extra moment, even though we have our feature over on the side. It's nice to have a little environment moment there. We do a little punch. No, it's not even a punch. It's a little boom gunshot to wake him up. And then they're adding back in to what's going on, creating a V, which is really nice. He says, no, no, no. We turn. I like the arm swings on it. Really cool, taking the arms out, ding, 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 with the opposition of the torso and arms to the leg. That was nice, and notice that we created more spacing out of it. Everybody else is lined up in the back. Nothing crazy there. He tosses away, and from there, it actually ended up having the guys in the back create windows. If you didn't know that, it's the space in between each individual, and so that was a really nice passageway for each of our new members to move forward, and you still have your feature in center, but it's a different feature, right? So like the arm swings are nice, and that was a good way to transition those guys from one feature to another in that moment. He pulls it away, punch, punch, punches, doom, 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 out, in. Come on now, we're here for it. And we end up knocking it to the side. This part's really, really cool. When you got numbers, use them. Where you have everybody pressing to the back, and then you have a 3-group deviation there with a different level on it. And notice that was really cool where you have, even though we can't really see them, you see them punch out to the side, and I really like the choice with the arm covering the face. And then we have another little gun imagery here, this time instead of it being just with the 2 fingers, it looks like you're actually holding a replica of a weapon or whatever, right? So I like that they're all signaling 2 different directions on that too. So you still have a little trio in the front, but they're walking to a new transition. Cool. Could it be the tripod? I don't know, but it does feel like it's easy for people to get lost near the back of the group. Could it be because of quantity of numbers? There's also that too. But I also know that there are choreographies that xikers has done as an OT9, and 9 and 10 don't really change extensively how it's viewed. It's just how you choose to use them. It didn't give the impression that we were hiding people, or not hiding, that we couldn't appreciate everybody without there being a sense of creative functionality behind why we're hiding somebody, if that makes sense. Yeah, so I think that's kind of my thing, where it's kind of like we have people just kind of waiting around. We have a group of 3 or group of 5 in front, versus they're engaged either on the sides or they're intentionally off. Little things like that. That I don't know. I can't place it. I like the fan. They all drop low to have that feature around, then they all pop up, and then they drop back down, having a new feature into the chat. Does feel similar. We've had this kind of opening before in another choreo, but not quite, you know, just a little bit different. I like the little brush right there with the lift of the toes on that. Is fun. They go, whoa! They go, da-da. Notice all of that there. Do-do, vroom, vroom, nice and subtle, and matches his tone on that, because you see the abruptness of our choices. It helps, da-da, when we hear the tone and play on that. It's cool. Direct musicality on that. He brings it to the back, do-do, and because he, you know, caters it back, regardless if you know the words or not, or understand what he's saying. If you're seeing somebody like, hey, look behind me, where are you going to look? You're going to want to look behind, and that's where our next feature reveal is. Looks great. From there, they all go, what? They hop out of it. It goes, breathe. That right there, I think that's super fun. It goes, breathe, and then they end up syncopating in the rhythm on that. Sorry, let me rephrase that. They end up going, tossing over, dun, 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 dun. So instead of just making it about the arms, we're letting the leg have some subtle opposition compared to the direction of the arm. But it's not so pressed where we're really leaning in opposition to create full lines. It's just really fast. So we're doing a lot of switch offs with our arms and our legs, which is cool. Then once again, we are entertaining a 5 and a 2-2. We've already kind of said it in the beginning. And then we're kind of seeing it here. And it also is we're hiding someone somewhere. We must be, because 5 plus 4 is 9, not 10. We're hiding someone directly behind. So could it be, hypothetically, because I know one member had been recovering for a hot minute now, do we have, I don't know who it is. That's what makes this so interesting too, is that it would only make sense, my statement, if the person who makes this an OT10, he has joined the chat once again, that rhymed, he's in the back being covered. That's the only thing that would make me feel like that makes sense, where they're prepping for an OT9, regardless of we had an OT10 feature going on for Christmas. Was he ready for this? We didn't know, and maybe the answer is yes, because he's here. But I don't know where he is. So it's really the question of, is he being hidden right here? And I know you guys would be able to tell me. Or is he not? And he's kind of somewhere else. If he is not being covered up in this moment right here, there's no reason for us to be hiding somebody in this formation. I'm just going to call it what it is. It does. I think that, to me, we have a lot of people. I get it. But I mean, I feel like there's more creative ways that we can showcase people and use levels and dynamics to really make it more interesting. Because we've seen it from BB Trip and time again, especially the whole era with Witch. Or I think it was like the Witch or something like that. That was such, I still think about that choreo. Like the structure on that was wild, right? Anyway, and they had other dancers in play too. I like the pulls on that is nice. And then you have your feature, he went around, really cool, and then they bring it back. So there's a lot of repetitiveness, but it doesn't give the intention, it doesn't feel redundant. It's just that when they're saying breathe, it's just, you get to add performance and niche of how you feel, which can be captivating in and of itself. So that's really nice. He goes, breathe. I like that your feature went a little bit lower there and everybody else went up. That was a cool thing. Then they hype themselves up, getting to the next formation. We get low. Then you have your feature. He did a little peek up right here, right behind Hunter. And then we have Hunter up. And we going on. Hunter did both arms. Everybody else did one. They end up about to brush the arm to cross over. And then it looked like my guy right here, he was that breathe hype person near the end of that phrase, because he's the only one who did something different there. But I like the full transition. Notice the hinge. Ball change with the arms, which is nice. breathe. And it did look like we almost could hinge it, but we didn't. But I really like the choice with the knees on that. This is a really cool wrap feature. His tone, when I heard it the first time, to seeing it here, I love his subtlety. I love his wordplay choices. Really nice. Yeah, and it goes hit, 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 hit. This is one of the most interesting parts of the whole thing, and I like that everybody separates into two columns, and I like he pours it in, and then from here they're taking the head and they're knocking it to the inside, continuing to have him framed. They're taking their arms around. No, that's our feature. So sorry. The feature's hands are moving around. Everybody else's heads are moving around. Then you have everybody drop low. Then you have 4 of them stay up, and then they end up dropping low once you have your feature hop over those 4 guys. And I like that the guys take their arms up, so it makes them all search around. Most likely something to do with smell, maybe, Nimsa, maybe he's talking about that. But they're going forward. It feels like something's a little off about what they're interacting with is kind of what it gives an impression. Really cool, though. They knock it back, which is cool. He mixes it up. Really cool, that whole little section. Da-da-da-da-da-da. That was an A+ for me. Cool. Then to travel with the groups forward. Arms press forward. Feature right here in center is really nice. Now, I liked when they all went bye-bye and then they came back into the chat. That kind of stuff works great. It feels like, hey, use your number, small group on small group on small group. We're here for it. So we have this great energy here, and we end up using everybody to just contribute energy in this bleed up, which is cool. Feature gets to stand out because he's doing more motions, either more movements, aka transitioning more toward the front to us. And so we're able to see him a little bit more clearly here, right? So they take the arms up, they lower him down. I like the crossover, little heel twist. It goes high, mid, low. He takes it back, they toss him forward, but then you have everybody just kind of setting up in the back again. I'm always an advocate for let's figure out creative ways to get that setup happening and not rely so much on those in front to distract us. Because if you're not giving me anything else to cover that up, it's going to kind of be like, okay, I recognize these guys, but I'm looking behind them to see, hey, what are you doing? You know, but that could just be me. I like how he goes out of the way, which is nice. So I really like what's going on here. It looks like we have 2 of our guys. Nice framing going on with the angles of the arms. We always want to be mindful of keeping, whenever we choose to take these arms and do a little twist with the base here, we want to be very clear on what kind of angles, right? Because if you're making, let's say you're making a shape like a house, you don't want the house to be a little bit off unless that's the point, right? So even here, I think you can also kind of get away with it if you both make the same choice. So if like the angles are out to the same corners, then it's a little bit more passable, right? But ideally you'd want it to be as readable as possible. When you have multiple moving pieces happening at the same time, the more clarity, the better. It's going to be set up for success. But hey, go for the risk taking. I ain't gonna stop you. And I like that you have your feature right here in center. It looks like we have our arms a little bit lower. Super fun. And then you have a whole nother energy or whole nother framing going on in the bottom as well. Whoops, here we go. And it goes party, they drop low, and then it looks like they ended up going from that top feature and they traveled the energy through. You end up having my 2 outside guys take their arm and place it more towards those near the floor, and then your next feature peeks out on the bottom. That's a cool setup. I like that. They pull away. He does a little brush. They go, whoa! Really nice choice from Hunter. Da-da, da-da, da-da. And then I like that everybody takes their arms and they're building them up. Their arms are out. Hunter's arms are up, which makes him a natural feature outside of just him being front and center. So that's always nice to have those subtleties there. Take the arms, little shoulders on that. He punches forward. He's a little petty in this, which, hey, we don't mind at all. I would say that laugh we heard in the beginning gave the Hongjoon petty laugh, which that we've all known and love in the KQ umbrella of things. A lot of people who like xikers end up liking ATs and vice versa. So I know I like the respect and loyalty to the groups within the company, because they're both fun and they work with great teams, and I like their music genuinely in the sense of I really like the concepts that end up coming out of it, which I think is really cool. Like I'm telling you, I don't know if we're gonna stay the route, but I really want xikers to stay on what they were doing. It was Bittersweet and Witch, like those 2 were freaking banger after banger. They need to just set up shop in that scene of things, because you can do so much in lore and you can do so much in kind of being known as the group that does that. But also, I don't know what their true end goal is as artists, So that could be another instance as to what we're exploring and who we're working with too. Maybe that'll be some fun questions we get answered in our commentary we have together in the comments. But anyway, that's fun. So they move out of the way, the hops. So it's breathe. Even in this here, notice that we kind of started a little bit more hunched over and we subtly traveled it back up. So that was cool. Then we swing the arms. And then take the arms, breathe, boom, and then we have this, for me, it's similar to, you see it in the City Rock, but they make it more smooth from one side to another, so it's not a structure like it, but you've seen people use these types of arms close to the body in other viral ways, but I like the tension of this. And then now we're counting, we're gonna start counting, this is the third time we're using the same formation, right? And we're directly having somebody hidden again. So I think if you're going to do the same content, I think it's cool content. Not making it look like an OT9 rehearsal, I think would be appreciated. Now, I do know most fans are probably going to be like, I love the fact we have an OT10, but I also am like, hey, I just want to see all 10 of them in the chorus. You know, or structure it to where keep the same choreo but switch up the formation. Not just the people in the formation, but the actual formation. Make it a different shape. And maybe that'll help repackage or allow me as a viewer to appreciate the choreography from a different vantage point. So I'm going to give that as a genuine note here, especially knowing that this is the first official comeback as an OT10 since everything. And so I'm really, I want to be an advocate for it. I want to see OT10 as OT10 as often as OT10 can be, right? So, and that does fall a lot of times on the performance director or the choreographer. He peeks out again, which is fun. The punches are nice. They go breathe. A lot of the imagery going from the mouth and the nose makes sense. Why? We breathe from these parts of our body, right? If we breathe from our armpit, we'd be breathe. We'd be... So sorry. That's a little stick that helps me open and close my door. But anyway, that's besides the point. Like if I had my armpit was breathing, I'd go breathe, breathe. That's so silly, but I hope that makes sense. Like a lot of times in our brains, we're thinking breathe. And if we're saying it enough, where do we breathe from? That place. So let's actually see it in visual imagery. Cool. A little kick out of that's nice. The pulls are nice. It's really nice where you have your feature, nice little fanning moment, and they get low and they slowly hinge, build it up, punch, high, low. I do believe on this, who we had in center did both arms, which allowed us to see them. But because we've already established a feature there in that moment in that center, then him doing the same thing it doesn't feel as much as who do I need to look at, right? So they goes breathe. There's your hinge again. Like all that's really fun. Could we have entertained opposition? We could have taken that formation and literally put it over on stage right, reverse the whole thing, but still keep the same content. I feel like we kind of missed an opportunity to really ham it up on the amount of people that you have in this group. You can do a lot with it, especially with a group that is well acquainted with certain concepts and choreo compositions like this one is. So that isn't a general note, and I do have a feeling that I've given a note like this to Team I Am before, especially with A-Turn. During one of the challenges, I made that comment of choreography is very dense, but we're not factoring in staging, or we're not talking through how to use our people for what it's for. I am going to call it that. If Team I Am is on it, even if BB Trippin's on it, it doesn't feel like BB Trippin here. And based on my Instagram, I think I'm thinking of the right people. That's a genuine note I'm going to stay consistent on, but it doesn't mean I'm like out to get them. I'm just noticing something that it's not broken, but it's definitely something that it's like I think we could tweak it. I really do think we can improve in this area. But anyway, I like that. You hear the sound? He went, and then we're ending up, everybody's now with a little circle around, and then we got a little trio going in. Here, he rotates it through, and it made it look like he took everybody to reset them down. Intro dance break. So we have it. It is polyrhythm through delegation, where we have our two in the center doing something way more complex. Everybody else is still, though, doing heavy iso interruptions, which is really nice. And then I like the pulls are nice. The punches and the little ponies coming out of it's really, really cool. And we take our arm, we swing it. and we get low, and that little, there's our little moment with, we fixed point that head, we turn it around over the back. Now let me tell you, I still firmly believe that Hunter doing that fixed head turnabout, the amount of flexibility that boy has to do it as fixed pointed as he did back in Tricky House is so commendable and very impressive, and it makes me so curious, did he retain that flexibility as he's gotten older? Because sometimes you can grow out of flexibility. A lot of times you do, especially when you go through puberty. So it's just a very interesting thought, right? So I like the low, that low travel back. Does feel like you could, that's not a nay-nay, but you could, the weight shift on it's really cool. And it was still unison. The claps were cool. I enjoyed it. Little gallop on is nice. So they take the swing up, boom, and then we have this extra. It's not like it's like a little baby vomit action as we take it. We bring it to the face. He goes forward. It's fun. He goes, ha ha ha. They go forward. Notice we have subtle framing going to the inside. Taking the arms up. We go doom, 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 doom. And this is nice, so we flick that head forward, breathe, boom, breathe, low, front to back, and you do have one of your guys a little bit lower, one of them up. Now let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Once again, I mean, the only way that I could feel this is passable, in my humble opinion, is that we were not ready for OT10. Like, we already made the choreography, and then OT9 turned to OT10 because he got cleared, and then we just fit him into the routine. That is the only thing I can think of. If that is not the case and he was a part of it during the inception and the creation of it, there's no excuse for this, for forcing an OT9 when we obviously have an OT10. Anyway, but that's just me. I will say going from an odd number to an even number is so tricky. And I know that's like pun intended, pun not intended, but it's really hard when you have symmetry naturally in place for 1 point features and then having to convert it to accommodate an even number and you still have that 1 point feature. That's tricky. There's a reason why that you have an even number dancers when you have a solo artist. It's because you're always going to have symmetry in the back. Why not? You know? So that's really the only thing that I'm still getting hung up on is, why is this formation structured like this? Why are these formations like that? Punches around, breathe. Even here, we're hiding somebody there. So we take the arm, we throw it, breathe, breathe, and they punch out, up, which is also nice. And then we end up taking our arms, traveling it back. These legs are similar to what we did with a hinge over, with the clap, in that collective transition back. Arms go forward, punch on punch, and then we hit it through, and then we had a little shoulder ISO as we send it over to the side, so that was a nice choice there. Head is nice. They took the arms out, and we go breathe, and then we have a nice little finish as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We love to see it. Fantastic. So in general, not my favorite xikers choreography, but definitely I would say it's not bad whatsoever. So I don't want y'all to think, wow, Jess, you must really hate them. No, quite the opposite. I really like xikers. I like how impressionable they are. I really enjoy the direction that they've been going as a team, and so far I do feel like they're not being as mismanaged as other Gen 5 groups I have seen, which is encouraging for me as a viewer, and I am hopeful that those that they continue to work with, whether they stick with Team I Am, if that is in fact who was on this, or if there would BB Trippin', if they have it behind the scenes, I wonder if we'll see the interaction. We normally do if it's BB Trippin', so maybe we'll follow suit with other teams. I'm curious about, you know, how this is going to adjust in the future, because this is cool, but yeah, it's just cool, but not as impactful as I feel like the potential of it could have been. But that's okay. You're just totally allowed to have stuff like that. It doesn't negate the fact that they worked hard. It's still full energy. I love that it still gives the impression they have a personality, which I love to appreciate here. Yeah, and this was still a great time. You guys know me, I know you. I'm Jess, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye!